Hello. First things first, I'm terribly sorry about the late video. I know it's basically incredibly late, but, well, here we are. So, Star Wars Thrawn. Now, this is a book written by the one and only Timothy Zahn. Now, I've been waiting for a long time for Timothy Zahn to write another book about Grand Admiral Thrawn. If you don't know Timothy Zahn, he is basically the guy who essentially saved the Star Wars franchise. He revived Star Wars. Back in, I think it was 1991, it was 1990, 1991, I think it was 91, he wrote Star Wars Heir to the Empire. Now by that time, well, the original films were finished, no one was really that interested in Star Wars anymore, and so Timothy Zahn wrote a little story about a Grand Admiral who brought the Empire back from the brink of utter destruction. And his book, Heir to the Empire, just galvanised Star Wars fans. It really got them excited about Star Wars again, and I think it actually introduced more people into the, introduced more people to get interested in Star Wars, and it really did turn things around, because I think because of the success of Star Wars: Heir to the Empire, I think it even inspired George Lucas. I won't say inspired, but I think it encouraged him to begin writing the prequel films. Now, of course, the prequel films sucked, but hey, that's just an unforeseen consequence. But anyway, enough about that. So, Star Wars Thrawn. This basically tells the origin story of Grand Admiral Thrawn in the new canon. Now, there are some similarities between the canon works and Legends. How the Imperials discover Thrawn is pretty much exactly the same as they did in Legends. The only new element is a character called Eli Vanto. Now, Eli Vanto is kind of like a mix between Kadaz and Pelion. I must say, I didn't mind Eli Vanto, but I just didn't have the same attachment with him as I did with Pelion, because in the original Thrawn trilogy I loved the character development between Grand Admiral Thrawn and Captain Pelion, or Pelion. I can never quite tell how you pronounce his name. Is it Pelion or Pelion? I always used to say Pelion, but I heard some people say Pelion, but anyway. For the sake of this video, let's just call him Pelion. So, I always loved the character development between Grand Admiral Thrawn and Captain Pelion. And so, again, whilst Eli Vanto wasn't a bad character, I mean, he was a perfectly likeable character, I just didn't have the same kind of attachment with him. And so, he was a bit of a disappointment, but he wasn't terrible. And we saw the rise to power of Governor Price. Now, I didn't think I'd like her story that much, but I must say though, it took a while for me to, really get interested in what was happening with her. But it was intriguing about what she was doing, so her story arc was surprisingly involving, I must say. And I think with regards to Thrawn himself, in this book, you do see a more human element to Thrawn. You sort of see him, I don't know, because like, one thing you could say about Thrawn in the Legends saga, with the exception of Outbound Flight, you don't really see too many personal elements with Grand Admiral Thrawn. In this book you do, because you do see him sort of struggle to really understand why the Imperials are so pig-headed, essentially. Where, like, in this book he very much struggles with the politics of the Galactic Empire. Because the politics of the Empire are essentially like the Roman Empire, where you could just be bumped off at any second. And so, when you really see him strive to achieve the rank of Grand Admiral, so he can change things for the better, so he can actually really, sort of, in some ways, improve the Empire's image. Because, I'm not going to spoil anything though, but there's a particular reason why he essentially allowed himself to be discovered by the Empire. Now again, I'm not going to spoil it, you should read it, but it is quite interesting. And so, when you see him rise through the ranks, you can tell that he cares about his men, and they definitely carry that over from Legends, because just like in Legends, he cares for his men. He cares for all the troops under his command, and it just sort of shows that it shows like a bit more of a human side towards the Empire. And I think Thrawn, who incidentally isn't human, brings out the human side, which is quite interesting, I must say. Now also in this book, there's a hint towards a hidden threat in the unknown regions. Now, those who are a fan of Legends would automatically think, oh, it's the Yuuzhan Vong. It must be the Yuuzhan Vong. In Legends, the unknown threat it was the Yuuzhan Vong. Now, I doubt it's going to be the Yuuzhan Vong in the new canon. I think that if they were ever to introduce a Vong, they would probably just water them down incredibly. Because the Vong in Legends were very much... They were a very, very, very dark story arc. It was not exactly kid-friendly. You had the weird, grotesque experiments that were done with people. You had ritual sacrifices. You had these sort of graphic mutilations. The Vong was so dark. I just can't imagine Disney, of all people, going for the Vong. At least, well, if they do go for the Vong, they'll probably make them a bit more, I wouldn't say light-hearted, but it won't make them as intense as they were in Legends. And plus, the Vong come with a bit of a stigma, because not everyone liked the Vong. I personally, you already know that I love the new Jedi Order series. I think it's an interesting, incredible story arc. But not everyone did like the Vong. So whether or not this mysterious unknown threat will be the Vong or not, well, we have yet to find out. But would I recommend you buy this book? Absolutely. If you're a Star Wars fan, heck, if you're a fan of Thrawn, you will buy this book, without a shadow of a doubt. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.